Hello and welcome to another episode of Don't Know, Ask Father Touzeau. All right, our first question, and I'll set it up, is in John's Gospel, we hear Jesus say, "If you loved me, you would rejoice that I am going to the Father, because the Father is greater than I." So the question is, what does Jesus mean when he says the Father is greater than I? Is Jesus saying that he's less than God or not equal to him? Well, first let's look at what he said leading up to this statement. The Father is greater than I. So if you know me, then you will also know my Father. He says this earlier on in John's Gospel. From now on, you do know him and have seen him. And then Philip said to him, "Master, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us." And Jesus replied to Philip, "Have I been with you so long and for so long a time that you still do not know me, Philip? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me?" So we set that up. And all through John's Gospel, he identifies Christ with God, even from the very beginning, when he states, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Later on, Jesus says, "The Father and I are one." And just in today's Gospel, Jesus speaks about unity, so that they all may be one, as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, that they also may be in us, that the world may believe that you sent me, and that I have given them the glory you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one. Jesus and the Father are one in divinity. Now, Jesus is God incarnate, the Word made flesh. So Jesus has a human soul, a human nature, and a human body, while also having a divine soul, a spirit, a nature, a divine nature. So we can look at it from this aspect. Now, Jesus is talking about this from his human perspective. And so from this point of view, the divine nature of the Father is greater than the human nature of Christ. Another place we can see Jesus humbling himself when speaking of his human nature is in Philippians 2, verse 6. "Who, though he was in the form of God, did not regard equality with God something to be grasped. Rather, he emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, coming in human likeness." So we know there's also another way to look at this, and it's to look at the Trinity itself. We know and say that all three divine persons of the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, are equal. It's a divine mystery, one we will never be able to fully comprehend or understand or explain. But in the Trinity, there's also a hierarchy. The Father is called the first person, the Son is the second person, and the Holy Spirit is the third person. So this is how we distinguish them, and between them, these three persons and the relationship they have. We are told the Son is begotten of the Father, and that the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father and the Son. Now, the early church fathers worked through this relationship in the Trinity, and eventually it was written in our Nicene Creed way back in the 4th century. So hopefully that answers your question. Now, another question we get asked a lot, and priests get asked a lot, is should I sit, stand, or kneel after receiving communion? Now, in the past episode or two, I think I talked about the guidelines or instructions for our Roman Missal called the General Instruction of the Roman Missal, or the GERM for short. In it, number 43 states, "If appropriate, you may sit or kneel during a period of sacred silence after communion." So there's an option. And for most places, parishes or dioceses, there's usually an established local custom, or a custom established by the local bishops' conference. Now, I've been in places where all three are the custom, to kneel, to stand, or to sit. And now for most, kneeling is the one that is most often used. However, it's usually best to follow what the local church does, so as to not draw attention to yourself. And my last question is, why do we make the sign of the cross on our head, lips, and chest before the gospel is proclaimed? And again, I take this from the GERM, and it gives us instructions on when to sit, to stand, to kneel, etc. And so the why is simple. When we do this, we are praying that the Lord be in my mind, on my lips, and in my heart. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Well, it's not really a secret. But when you see a priest go to read the gospel, and they bow to the altar and say a prayer, and one that you would normally not be able to hear, we are saying, may the Lord be in my heart and on my lips, that I may proclaim his gospel worthily and well, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. And if a deacon is going to proclaim the gospel, he goes to the priest and says, your blessing, Father. And the priest will pray over the deacon, saying, may the Lord be in your heart and on your lips, that you may proclaim his gospel worthily and well, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Thanks for the questions, and keep them coming. God bless you.